JT Show.
What's going on, Smashers, and welcome to another episode of the Smash JT Show, my weekly episodic adventure discussing divisive issues in the video game industry and beyond sometimes. It airs every Friday. If you're new here, like always, smash that subscribe, bell for notifications, give me that thumbs up, and let's just press start. For this week's episode, quite the interesting turn of events has occurred. A game called Enchanted Portals has just dropped a full-blown Kickstarter campaign into getting it fully funded so that people can play it. And while that's nothing new on its own, indie companies starting Kickstarters, that's something that happens multiple times a day, it seems, these days. Enchanted Portals is a little bit different, and for those of you who may not be familiar, this is clearly a Cuphead ripoff. Or at least that's what a lot of people have been saying online right now. And the opinions that are being shared are interesting. You have the camp of people that's saying this is a blatant ripoff of Cuphead and they should have something done to them. They shouldn't be allowed to make a game like this. And then you have the other people saying, hey, I like Cuphead. Here's like a quasi-sequel to Cuphead made by a different company and sharing a lot of the same mechanics that Cuphead had in it. Now, for me personally, this is a weird thing because it borrows heavily from Cuphead to the point of, yes, you could say it's almost plagiarism, but other people saying it's imitation. Where do you draw the line on where imitation stops and plagiarism starts? Because imitation is, as everyone knows, the phrase, is the sincerest form of flattery. And this is where the lines are being drawn in the sand and the battle is going down. People are getting pissed. People have very strong opinions opposing and for this game, and a lot of them make perfect sense depending on where they stand. But for this video, I want to talk about why Enchanted Portals isn't such a bad thing. In fact, I'm kind of looking forward to this title. Not because it's a complete rip-off of Cuphead, a game that is loved by basically anybody who plays video games outside of Dean Takahashi, but this game looks good, it looks fun, and it looks like a lot of work went into the animations to basically replicate the feeling you got while playing Cuphead, a game that took an extremely long time to put together because of all the hand-drawn animations. But not just being hand-drawn, the old-school stylistic version of it. A lot of people saying it's a blatant ripoff of Cuphead, but like I said, where do you draw the line? Because Cuphead was heavily inspired off of 1930s and 1940s old-school cartoons. Do you get mad at Cuphead because it's basically ripping off those cartoons? Or do you move on from that and get upset at an indie developer that's basically copying Cuphead that copied an old school cartoon? Where do you draw the line and why? Because I brought a few games with me today to settle the score on why this isn't such a big deal. In my opinion, Cuphead blazed a new path, created an entirely new genre. The run and gunning shoot 'em up type game, the Metal Slugs, games that follow in the same style. Cuphead transitioned that into a different era. Old school cartoony run and gunners, which there weren't any of previous. It blazed a new path and now other companies want to get in on that action. And I can't say I blame them. Here are a few examples I brought with me just to make examples of what I'm talking about, where new genres came out of old genres, creating an entirely new path of games. Remember Smash Brothers, well, the original one on the N64 that's come all the way through now to the Nintendo Switch? Remember a game called PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale? Not to mention a few other games that completely ripped off what success Nintendo had with Smash Brothers? Or you look at games from like the Twisted Metal Vehicular Combat, or people might say Destruction Derby was the first one, or people might say a different car vehicle combat. And then you see Vigilante 8, which basically was a one-to-one for the original Twisted Metal. Then you look at games like Gran Turismo in the entire series, and then you see Sega GT. What's the difference with these games? Nothing really. They are all just brand new genres. Uncharted, people would argue, is just a blatant ripoff of the old school Tomb Raiders. I mean, how many looter shooters have there been since the success of the original Destiny? My point being is, A lot of games are extremely similar to other games. Look at Mario Kart and then Sega All-Star Racing. Like, it's a one-for-one. It's just different characters and different tracks on it. In this case, Enchanted Portals is basically a one-for-one of Cuphead, except it's different levels and different kind of looking end bosses. Could it have been a little bit more different to separate itself? Of course it could. And I think that's where people are getting hung up on this. Am I pissed at this indie developer for doing it though? No, not at all. This is what video game evolution is. This is what the industry has progressed on since video games became a thing, since Pong was bouncing a ball back and forth. How many different Pong ripoffs were there back then? But each one of them slowly progressed it into a different kind of game, and from that the evolution of the video game industry came to be what it is today. So no, I don't get mad at this company for doing that. I think it's fine. In fact, I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what this game has to offer to the end users. Will it be as good as Cuphead? Probably not. But will it be something close to on par? That's what we're hoping for. I don't think people really should be upset about this. But that's what the whole point of the Smash JT show is. I'd love to hear your opinions on Enchanted Portals. Do you feel like it's a blatant ripoff of Cuphead and they shouldn't be allowed to make it? Or do you think that this is fine? It's just a part of what the video game industry is, and it's a perfect natural evolution of a brand new genre. And that's where I'm going to leave that topic. Moving on to the smashing video of the week, I want to highlight a creator that I actually don't think I've highlighted previously in any of these. Someone who I've talked about and shared their videos on social media plenty of times, but that is Starlink. Someone who makes really in-depth quality reviews of games, and in this case, he made a review of Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening Remake that blew me away. I already made my own review of it. I watched his to see the differences, and holy crap, he went into some serious detail as far as what the differences are from the original game to modern day, and if those differences are for the better or not. Makes a lot of really valid points, and it's something that I think everybody should check out. So I'll put a link for that in the description below as well. And that's where I'm going to leave this week's episode. As always with the Smash JT show, I want to say a special thank you to all the Patreons that help support the channel on a monthly basis with their pledge. If you're interested in joining them for as little as $1 per month, I'll put a link to the Patreon right there. And, like I said at the beginning, if you're still not subscribed, you enjoy what I'm doing here, hit that subscribe button, and if you missed last week's video, I'll put it right here somewhere. That's all I got for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, you stay smashing.